Jeff.
Yeah.
What's up, fellas?
Looking good. That light's doing you
What up,
justice.
dude? Jeff, did you get a tattoo?
Dude, don't do this.
Did you get a tattoo?
Don't do this.
Jeff?
I did.
Can
What
we
does it say?
Wembanyama.
It says
Very, very teeny.
Pistons draft Victor Wembanyama,
Okay.
#1 overall. That's what it says.
I like it.
It's happening tonight.
Love
Dedication.
But I'm mentally preparing myself for the opposite outcome because I feel like we do this,
No.
not just
Boo
us,
this
but most fan
Boo
bases.
this man.
This man.
So,
Boo.
although I'm excited,
What a
listen,
stupid tattoo now.
although I'm excited, fellas, we gotta just mentally prepare ourselves because it's what is it? More than likely you'll have
You
that
have to
fifth
be
pick.
mentally prepared for anything.
Fifth? Why fifth? Why?
Because what is it? A 48%?
55%
Yeah.
chance that you get 4 or 5.
So 15% difference?
The
That
odds,
ain't
if you're
crazy.
going off
5%
odds,
difference. It's like a 45.
40% for one, right?
14% for one. 40%? Why?
14,
I'd be
40.
way more hype.
14, 40. I can
But
see that.
48% if you don't get number 5, 48% chance that you get number
yeah, they have
1.
a.
Yeah.
So if you
I mean,
get past-
52% just to be in the top 4, but that's spread out over
My head
multiple
man.
picks.
It's crazy because the Red Wings draft lottery, I felt like something was coming their way. Like they've been screwed out of that lottery situation like so many times. The Pistons one, I can't say I expect Wemby. Especially after last year, we kind of hyped ourselves up to like for a number 3 pick,
Right.
and landed number 5. But the consolation prize is Brandon Miller, right? If it's not Wemby in this draft class,
Yeah, that would be my preference.
yeah.
I wouldn't say, he's I'm not going to make the argument he's head and shoulders above Scoot, but preference-wise, yes, I would say Brandon Miller.
So there's a couple people in the Woodward Sports chat they doubt Brandon Miller. Can you sell me this pen? Sell me Brandon Miller as a draft prospect for the Detroit Pistons.
I mean, I would ask those people, did you tune into Pistons basketball this year? I unfortunately had to watch every game. I had to pin my eyes open, all 82, and watch. And one thing you can
sick
clearly
individual.
tell this team lacks is shooting
Yes.
and length on the wing.
Yeah.
So what does Brandon Miller provide? Well, he's 6'10", can shoot the hell out of the ball. And I know people bring up the tournament. Guys, Jay Ivey lost to St. Pete. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, the tournament, yes, you could factor that in, but Jabari Smith had an awful tournament. You bring up guys. I mean, Paulo actually had some
Not a good
moments.
example.
But I'm just saying, like, I just in Jabari, by the way, I know you're going to write him off his rookie year, but
Traffic
the point I'm making is I don't factor the tournament as the end all be all. I mean, you look at a player and what he can be, the measurables, the ability and what he can do. And Brandon Miller, to me, man, in terms of needs for the Pistons, he checks every box.
Yeah.
I mean, can play off ball. For him to play immediately with Ivy and Cade, it's intriguing. And I'm just not a huge fan. It has nothing to do with Scoot as a player, because if you're going to tell me, well, Jeff, the Pistons are in a position to go BPA, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I think you have a point, but I would much rather just keep the ball in Ivy and Cade's hands. And I don't want to push Cade to the 3, because then you lose that size advantage. Pause. But you lose that size advantage. And he's playing point guard. He's 6'6". He's playing small forward. Now he's an average. He's the average height. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the issue I have with Scoot, even though he could be a tremendous player. So ideally, you get the #1 overall pick. But if not, even if you're in the top 3, I think the Pistons are fine. You'll be all right. You just want to have Victor, which is the big prize.
Okay, so speaking of Victor, I have some concern just because I can't really. I get as a prospect, like just purely as a prospect, everything's valid. Everything's being said about him, but when it comes to like actual like history of prospects with this type of hype behind them, with this type of size on them,
Right.
it doesn't really bode well. Is there any concerns for you? And like, what percentage is it in terms of like this guy working out health-wise in the league and being like what he's supposed to?
So, like, give you the percentage of it working versus it not working?
Yeah, like where are you at with it? Like, is there?
I mean, it's tough,
Is there
like,
a
even-
concern meter for you with him at all, or you just know?
No,
just
there's
get it?
definitely concern. I think for guys with that frame, 7'5", and I know he's a little bigger than Chet, but again, 7'5", he's about a little over 200 pounds. There's definitely concerns, but you got to take them. Like, it's not like
yeah.
concerns where you're, I don't know, like even Joel Embiid, he missed the first 2 years. He was injury prone, but
Yeah.
I mean, would you guys say in Joel Embiid it worked out for
Yes.
Philly despite the first 2 years?
Yeah, in terms of like winning games, he's still kind of injury prone.
He's played an average. You're getting about 60 games a year out of Joel. If Victor can get me 60 games, I'll be fine.
I'm cool with that, yeah.
Especially if he's playing in the postseason. Now, if he's injury riddled, then that's a different conversation. But this might be the best prospect to ever come out of the draft. So like you have to take him, despite the injury concerns. But again, this happens. I mean, for every Greg Oden, there's a Kevin Durant. So I'm not saying there'll be a Kevin Durant in this draft, but sometimes the obvious pick doesn't always work out. But you got to still take him. You don't hesitate. So I would say percentage-wise, I mean, That's tough. The only way it doesn't work out is if he's hurt.
Say nightmare scenario, you fall out of the top 3.
Shut up.
What's going on there?
Yeah.
Who are you looking at that would be a player that you could bring in that would fit what the Pistons are trying to do and what they need?
That's where I struggle, and I don't know if you guys agree because I haven't got a chance to talk to you guys about it. I'm trying to shop that 4 or 5 pick, and again, like Neil always says, you need a trade. Who are you trading it for? That's very true because I don't have a star off the top of my head that's asking out. But if you stay put,
Mikal Bridges yesterday. Chris brought up Mikal Bridges.
I'd like that one a lot.
To me, that's a no-brainer. I'll take Mikal Bridges. Now, with Brooklyn, they have picks. I don't know if they probably want to keep Mikal, but if he's available, I'll take Mikal. But if you're picking 4 or 5 and you stay put, one player I do like a lot, which it's not as exciting as Brandon Miller or maybe guys. I know people like the Thompson twins, but I like Jarris Walker. Mm-hmm. I mean, 6'8", plays for Houston, 7'2" wingspan, versatile defensively.
It's kind of a beef stew.
Yeah, a little bit, but someone that I think I would trust more on the wing. Like Stu to me is like, I love Stu, but he's a 4. Yeah. You can't put Stu at the 3, but Jarris Walker I like, but yeah, I'm shopping that 4 or 5 pick.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and I know this draft, people will say it's a deeper draft, a top 10. There's some talent there. If you're not getting Brandon Miller, Scoot, or Vic, unless Troy sees somebody that's a gem, I'm just trying to shop the pick. To be honest with you, so whether they can get a deal or not, I'm at least shopping it. Who wants it?
Yeah. I'm with you. I think that's a move 100%.
Yeah.
Like,
because I'd rather much get a proven player. I mean, for a 4th or 5th pick. To be honest with you.
I mean, we know in the NFL, it's Quentin Williams is the guy that's kind of like unsettled there. Mm-hmm. Who is in the NBA right now? Who is a guy that would be attainable for the Pistons in that situation, Spinny?
Dude, I keep talking about Anthony Edwards because I just
trying to speak into existence.
Yeah, I'm trying to speak into existence.
I don't hate that. I don't hate you for
he
that.
doesn't like Cat. He doesn't. Nobody likes Rudy Gobert. He's in Minnesota. They're going nowhere. Like,
starting to feel like nobody likes Cat.
Throw everything at the Timberwolves you can.
You throw everything and the kitchen sink.
Yes.
To get Anthony Edwards, I'm with you.
I'd give you 4 first-round picks, Stu and Bogey right now. Sign the deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some free Cartiers, man. You can have everything.
You can have American Coney Island, 6, 7, and 8 Mile.
Yeah. Yep.
You can have the DIA. You can have all that shit. You can have the portrait of that dude on the horse with the sword. Like,
yeah. Just have it all.
The fucking DT statue.
Yeah. No, the painting in DT, the guy riding the horse with the
no,
white
I know.
beater.
I'm talking about these. I'm throwing him in there. Yeah. What up, though, Chris?
Another name I like. He's not projected top 5 right now. He's projected a little lower, but I think he's going to climb. Is Anthony Black from Arkansas? The dude just has flashes of doing everything. He averaged 2 steals a game. Like he's got active hands on defense, and shooting percentage from 3 wasn't that great, but I feel confident in him. He's a good ball handler. He kind of does remind me, his ceiling, his absolute ceiling to me would be like a Mikal Bridges, like your second or third primary ball handler that can kind of run some pick and roll, shoot, defend at a high level, and I think that fits very nicely, obviously, next to Cade and Ivy and Duren.
Yeah. I got some names in the chat: Brandon Ingram,
that one piqued my
Booker,
interest.
Levine, Markkanen. There's a couple people.
If I had to rank him, Ingram's probably number 1 for me.
Yeah, Ingram was balling.
Ingram's awesome.
Yeah, Ingram, he's a dude.
Is he disgruntled right now? Is that a thing? I feel like he's their guy right now, like the guy.
Yeah, but I mean, if Zion ever plays basketball,
I was going to say he's probably the most dependable guy right now because Zion, he's not available
and
as much
Ingram
as
missed like 40 games last year.
Yeah, last year he was hurt, but for the most part, Ingram's he's a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you,
he had like he was playing the best ball of his career the last like 3 weeks of the season. He was going crazy.
Yeah.
So in terms of like, because I've said it, and I know you and Adam got in a little bit of debate the other day, which I'm on your side wholeheartedly with this one. Is like, in the NBA, you need the horses, you need the dogs on your team if you want to compete. People want to bring up names of coaches that made it there, but the reason why a lot of them haven't is because of players that you put in your top 10 all time. Steph Curry, LeBron James,
course.
been dominating the NBA Finals, like hands down. Who is like, if they don't get Wemby, is there a coach you grab, and is there still hopes for like a championship in Detroit? Because we have some horses, we just don't know what they look like together.
Yeah, and that's the thing that gets misconstrued. I think people look at the NFL and how much coaching matters, and they try to kind of spread that around other leagues. It differs from league to league. Like the NBA, I think coaching, and this was my argument, I think coaching means the most situationally, especially in the postseason. That's why you see coaches get fired for mistakes situationally. Like Budenholzer got fired for what how that game ended, especially how they closed the game, that elimination game. So I'm not going to say coaching doesn't matter, but in the NBA, you're right. It's a star-driven league. It's a player-driven league. If the Pistons are going to win a championship, who cares who the coach is?
Yes.
Like, it matters to some extent, but at the end of the day, that would mean Cade's a superstar, Ivy's a superstar, Duran's a star. You add another guy. Like, that matters more to me than whoever we get. If we're going to debate Budenholzer or Monty Williams, who's taking this team to a championship, I'm going to ask you, well, who's the best player on the championship team?
Yeah.
Like, that's the question I'm wondering. Because
it's like Budenholzer didn't coach the Milwaukee Bucks into a championship. Budenholzer had the best player on the planet.
Absolutely. Like, he gets some credit, but people are acting like he's dissecting it. Like, coaches deserve all the credit. It's different in the NBA.
You got Mr. Run and Dunk. Like, there's not much you got to do other than be like,
did you see?
Here you go, Giannis. Go fucking 40 feet and dunk the ball.
In the proof to that, did you see Marcus Smart's quote? This is actually 2 games ago when they were down in the series, or I think they were tied, either one. He talked about Joe Mazzulla's offense.
Yeah.
He's like, we're just kind of playing ball out there.
Yeah.
Like, and again, that's not to like discredit Joe Mazzulla, but that's like the reality of what's going on. Like, Joe Mazzulla's a great coach, but let's be honest, it's the Celtics.
Is he a great coach?
It's the Celtics.
Yeah, I don't know if he is.
He's a great coach.
So, in terms of who I prefer, I mean, Charles Lee's still there. I like Monty. There's a lot of names I like, but at the end of the day, I'm more about who's on this team. That's my number one concern. Man. I mean, if you get Victor, I don't give a damn who the coach is, as long as it's not somebody that knows nothing. Like Kevin Ali, I'm skeptical about because of the lack of being on an NBA bench as a coach. But I'm cool. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean,
it would be kind of a weird hire just because like you're dealing with grown men, where he's only been in a situation you're dealing with like collegiate kids, and then to the overtime, which is like high school.
The only thing you got is he's a former NBA player, so at least
that.
He has that understanding of the game.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
But on an NBA bench, I
want Charles Lee.
I'm with you.
And now that I heard, the Bucks are going to actively pursue or aggressively pursue Monty Williams, that to me looks like Charles Lee's going to be open. Because that was with me. I was like, oh, they fired Bud. They're just going to promote, Charles Lee. But no, Monty's out there. Maybe Doc is more interested in Milwaukee than other teams. So.